There's only a couple of more months left for 2026, which means it is lock-in season. If you want to understand how to use your winter arc to become unstoppable in 2026, then I'm going to break down in this video how you can utilize this powerful time to turn inwards, to double down on your authenticity, manifestations, so that next year you come back stronger, radiant, and more magnetic than ever before. I totally get it. Summer is usually most of our favorite times because less clothes, more sunshine, fun, going out. It's a very external experience where we get nourished by the sun, the sea, the delicious fresh fruit. And so there's a lot of outwards energy. But when autumn and winter comes, these are energetic points in our life where we have the opportunity to really take a step back. The cold invites us to stay at home more, go to sleep earlier because it gets darker. It's really a time to nourish ourselves from the inside out. And so to me, this is the season where we actually prepare for next year. And if you know that there is only 1 year left before we shift into the new paradigm, meaning 2026 is energetically and astrologically absolutely insane. And it is those 12 months that you have until we need to be ready for the new paradigm and the consciousness shift that is coming in 2027. So this is your time to double down on really deeply trusting yourself, learning how to love yourself, and getting so attuned with your desires and what your soul wants that 2026 is going to be at your feet, begging you to be conquered. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to come back to yourself and give life more color, because it is so important to experience joy and expansion, that every time we kind of have that feeling that there's nothing within us and that we try to grab, things that make us happy from the outside. And this I can see so fast in myself. I actually usually consume very little sugar. And so I notice when I just it creeps in, it's like slowly there's just more shitty food in my life where I'm just eating more sugar, more, unhealthy, whatever, fries. I notice that I'm trying to, in a very subtle way, I'm trying to pull from the outside to kind of get some interior satisfaction. And I'm scrolling more, I read less. It's all of these little things that kind of seep into my routine, and they slowly strip away from me. And there's this one thing that I really just want to reiterate. If you're somebody who's ambitious, if you're somebody who wants a beautiful, fulfilling, nourishing life, your habits and who you are as a person has to stand out from the rest. You cannot expect to do exactly what everybody else is doing, but have a different outcome. So if you want to have an exceptional life, then you'll have to hold yourself to exceptional standards. And every now and then, even myself, I can feel myself slipping into watching more movies. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily bad. I feel there's seasons in life, and I never would want your worth to be tied to how many hours you meditate, because I really don't believe that we need to, there's an inherent worth in us. And we just need to really understand that it is not that we're bad spiritual people and that's why we won't get rewarded. I really don't believe in that. But I do believe that when it starts seeping into our true energetic, our capacity to hold space, our capacity to enjoy life, to feel at peace, to be grateful for this opportunity that we have to live life, because I truly believe that getting the chance to be alive must be insane if it takes one in I don't know how many billion sperm to become a human. I do feel even though it doesn't always feel incredible to have this human experience, it must be pretty awesome that we've gotten the opportunity to do so. And so anytime that I feel that I'm kind of moving away from gratefulness, or I no longer appreciate certain things in my life, I know it's time to lock in. And the winter arc is my favorite arc. So by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what you can do step by step so that you really start moving back into your truth, up level, align, and get absolutely crystal clear on how the next season of your life is going to look like. Let's dig deep. So if you're curious to learn what 5 steps you can start taking so that you are able to create a vessel that holds the manifestations your soul desires, I'm going to break them down in this video. The first thing I'm going to teach you is understanding dopamine and how to go cold turkey. Step 2 is going to be sovereignty and the power of self-control and how to hold yourself to the standard that your highest self would hold you accountable for. Number 3 is discipline and how you can turn discipline in something that tastes like freedom. Step 4 is going to be how we nourish our energy back up, how we feel that what we have cleansed out, and how we can really start learning something new that will give us this new kind of like creative input and force. And last but not least, I'm going to break down what is happening on an energetic level that is allowing you to create space for a higher, bigger frequency, the frequency of your dreams and your dream life to reach you. Let's dig in. Hello and welcome to the Human Design Portal, your safe space to decondition so that you can align with the right people, opportunities, and chances. If you're new here, my name is Maika Gabriela and I'm a human design reader, a deconditioning expert, and the founder of the transformational Human Design certification. And I am here to teach you every single week new things in a very applicable, easy to understand way about energy, human design, and self-development. So if you're interested in getting to know yourself better and understand the energetics of the human design system, then please subscribe. I love watching this channel grow and it inspires me so much to know that human design is getting more and more seeped into different consciousness. Thank you. The first step is the hardest. Isn't that a song? I hope my edit team finds it and I'm just not like being weird and it's completely off. What I want to say is that when we are in a slump, because we are in a slump, motivation usually is low. And that is why step 2 is going to be discipline, because we cannot build the life of our dreams waiting for motivation, the muse of inspiration or motivation to find us, okay? You have to do the first step. The first step is the hardest. Once you do the first step, motivation, inspiration can follow. And so step 1 is really going cold turkey. So what happens a lot of times is that when we've been in a phase of our life where there's a lot of exciting things or a lot of things happening, and this can be small things, even like seeing your friends more, going out to like drinks and party and dinners and whatever you've been doing this summer, when we have a more like dopamine high season of our life where we are maybe, less stressed at work or less busy at work, so we're more on social media and we have more time to kind of waste, we will often then hold on to things that give us that like quick fix, right? Dopamine is actually a natural reward system that when we make an effort, we get dopamine as a motivation for us to keep on making effort. The reason why people are saying that today's society generation is lazy is because we no longer need to make an effort to get dopamine. So our whole mind, brain, and way of operating is no longer based on effort. It is just based on quick highs. How can I get dopamine? Oh, I can scroll on my phone. I can eat candy. I can, watch porn. There's so many ways that we can get quick fixes and high dopamine reward without having to make an effort. Before, when we used to want to have like a sensual, fun, flirty experience with somebody, we would have to overcome the fear of walking up to somebody, talking to them, being somebody who has a good conversation, maybe having enough money to take somebody out to dinner, to impress them, to this, to that. Don't even come for me in the comments about 50-50, okay? I'm just saying. So there used to be an effort that we used to have to make, right? Same with whatever, any kind of dopamine, really. Like usually you go to the gym, it hurts, it's painful, you gotta constantly override your mind telling her, stop, this is uncomfortable. But when you've done like running 40 minutes, you're like, oh my God, I feel so good, I can like touch the sky, right? Dopamine had made sense. It made sense. Now it doesn't make sense anymore. So we have such easy way to get dopamine that our dopamine receptors are just burned off. And so we need more and more and more and more. And so if you want to cut that cycle because you've just been feeling dull, like I have been feeling dull for the last weeks, I've actually already started implementing this and it's helped tremendously. And so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna make a video for you guys so that you understand my process and hopefully it will help you too. So number one is going cold turkey. And this is the season that sucks because your body is going to be like, oh, but I really want that piece of chocolate. I really want that sugary drink. I really want to like just spend more time on my phone. So especially if you're an open sacral, meaning you're a projector, you're a reflector, you're a manifester, because the world is constantly pulling at your desire, at what, fills you up, at sensuality, sexuality, joy, creativity, because there's always this rush energy that you're exposed to that isn't your own. It might be harder for you to create boundaries around your desires because you're constantly amplifying other people's desires through your open sacral. Okay? So the first step is to go cold turkey, to be aware of that uncomfortable feeling of the desire in your body and to be like, I choose to not eat that piece of chocolate. And maybe there's something alternative I can do until my body kind of settles down. Right? So maybe I'm not a big fan of cutting everything out immediately. I'm not a fan of going like radically cold turkey. I really like tapering off my body because I think that has more adaptability, at least for how my system works. I don't want to crave anything. I don't want to restrict myself of anything. From my experience working as a model, especially around restricting food, that's something I don't do anymore. I just become very aware of how the unhealthy food or unhealthy habits affect my body at large. So I have an autoimmune disease that went into remission a year into embodying my energetic authenticity and understanding that I'm a projector. And every now and then when I go through a stressful phase, when I don't really honor my body, there's a small flare-up. So now it's actually much better. But a couple of weeks ago when I was in my slump and I wasn't really honoring and being good to myself in the way that I usually am, eating a lot of shit and like whatever, I could sense a flare-up coming. So I was like, you know what? This is really a sign for me to double down on my winter arc and really do everything I can now to feel incredible when spring happens 2026. Because even though there's like New Year's and we all set like goals for New Year's, our body doesn't really feel ready to open up, to flower, to bloom until spring of 2026. And oftentimes we get caught up in that because we have like this, it's New Year's, let's start. But our body still takes a couple of weeks and months to really like melt. Number one, really start finding alternatives. So being very conscious, learning how to sit with the uncomfortable feeling, I think is so important because there is a craving. Your body will want that dopamine hit and you won't give it to him. And the body won't like that. And then you will listen to your mind. And this is incredible because human design always teaches us, listen, you shouldn't be listening to your mind. You should listen to your authority. So really being very conscious about what your mind is telling you and how your mind is trying to make up excuses for like, oh, it's just one little piece of chocolate, which could be fine. If you've been eating like, 5 donuts a day, one little piece of dark chocolate is like a great alternative. But I'm just saying, really be aware of the things that give you dopamine hits. This can be overuse of phone, this can be candy, this can be doom scrolling, and just be aware of these things that you've been doing to outsource your joy, to try to get it from outside, because you're disconnecting from your own source. You're disconnecting from God, the creator and light, which should always be your number one source of energy. It's just not as tangible as the phone or as like simple to get, right? So number one is we're going to go cold turkey. We're going to slowly temper off and just learn to sit with that uncomfortable feeling of my body wants something that I'm not going to give it in the most kindest, softest way. The next one is one of my favorite words, and that is sovereignty. Sovereignty is so important if you want to create a life that is different from what society is expecting you to have. And so this is something that I think a lot about because I had role models. My father was a very free thinker. He was a manifesting generator. He didn't do anything how anybody said he would. And every time I listen to somebody's interview, it's always like, oh, they told me I couldn't do it. And then I was like, but I'm gonna do it. Thinking about the life that you want to create for yourself, how you want your life to look like, is so important to be able to to step into the version of yourself that can sustain and acquire the life that you desire. And so becoming very clear around, okay, how do I want my life to be differently? Not just knowing, oh, there is a better life for me out there, but actually being very, taking the time to assess, okay, how does my dream day look like? Do I like waking up early? Do I like having time for myself? Do I actually want to get the work done in the morning so I can rest in the afternoon? Like, I'm an energetic projector, but my energy works until lunchtime. After that, I can do content. I can do things where I'm like lying down, but like recording a video like this in the afternoon is going to be really hard for me. But if you have indirect light, maybe you're somebody who like wants to sleep in until 12 p.m. and loves recording at night. So it really depends on your energetic authenticity and the way that you're built, and really getting in tune with how you want your life to look like, and creating then steps that are in tune with the sovereignty that you have decided your life wants to look like. So this can be that your parenting style is different, right? Maybe you're like, you know what? I don't like the system. I'm going to homeschool. Maybe it is whatever else it is. Maybe your romantic relationship has a different dynamic than the one society expects you to. Maybe you've fallen in love with somebody who society wouldn't deem okay for you to be with. Maybe the values that you're teaching your children goes against the values that other children are being raised at in the environment that you happen to be in. Maybe you want to stop living your life to work and you want to make your work matching your life, which is what I've done. And it's been the most rewarding thing ever, because now my life is my work in the best positive way, in the sense that it's my passion and I don't differentiate, and it fills me up, and I don't know, it's really cool. So sovereignty is so important, because to become the person you want to be, you have to know who you want to be. And so you can't always dream of, oh, one day I'll be this person, one day I'll be this person. You only become that person if you start acting like that person now. And I'm not saying that if you want to be on a yacht, in Monaco with some billionaires, you got to spend money you don't have, to be on a boat you can't afford. No, that's not what I'm saying. But it means, like, how does that person show up? What are the values of this person? There's so much judgment around that coming up right now, which is hilarious. But it doesn't matter. Like, this was obviously just an example. If you want to be living in the woods without light and electricity, or whatever your other fantasies are that are like opposite of like being on a yacht with billionaires. Also, again, I don't know why am I using this? Now I'm thinking about yachting, whatever. This is getting out of hand. I've been obviously scrolling too much BS on TikTok. Anyways, whatever it is, the life that you desire to have, I want you to start embodying the qualities of that person. And it's not about spending money, and it's not about doing things that you can't afford or that you don't have, but it's actually the essence. So what is the essence of the woman you want to become? What is the essence of the man that you want to become? Even if you don't have the financial resources right now, or maybe you're stuck in a job that you hate, or whatever it is, there's one thing that I learned from Kabbalah, which is part of the human design system that I've been studying the last 3 years that I really love. And that is that even if you hate your job, but you're giving 100% effort, which is so hard, you have a higher chance to then find your dream job, because somebody will be like, oh my God, you're doing this so great. And I know this isn't your thing, but I have a friend who knows a friend, especially if you have a 4-line, I have a friend of a friend who's going to hook you up with the job that I think is great for you. So just showing people that we are able and that we have capacity to perform and be great and show up and have a positive energy has such high impact. So no matter what it is, and no matter where you're stuck right now, if you feel stuck, giving your 100%, making the effort of dressing nice, making the effort of being on time, making the effort of going the extra mile, just make the effort of be extra nice, make the effort of be kind, whatever it is that you know you need to do in order to become the person that you desire, start making the effort now. Step 3 is going to be discipline. And I know this is a hard one, especially if you are undisciplined in your arrows and your variables. If you don't know how that looks like, that is when you have the bottom left arrow pointing to the right. That is that you're undisciplined. Undisciplined already sounds bad, but I really want you to understand that it has nothing to do with you not being able to achieve what you dream of. Actually, it's the opposite. It's one of the indicators of the new paradigm, and it means that you're here to show us that you don't have to be strict or put yourself through things you don't like to achieve what you want. Okay, so undisciplined is not a negative word. It's just that our association to you're undisciplined is like a very teacher, like punishing, mad mom kind of like connotation that we have, but that's not at all what's happening. And I like using undisciplined on purpose to maybe bring you flavor to that world, okay? It doesn't mean it's like black or white. It's descriptive. It's not good and bad, okay? When discipline feels like freedom, it is because even from a psychological point of view, there's so much chaos and a lack of control and self-abandonment that happens when we are not able to take care of ourselves, when we're not able to prioritize our long-term goals with our short-term goals. And this is what happens specifically when we are like in a slump. We start reaching for quick fixes instead of using the discipline we need to then build habits and build a kind of rapport with ourselves that will help us feel good in the end, right? So it takes a while for our body to recuperate. It takes a while for the chemicals in our brain to really, settle. It takes a while for the habits that we're implementing to really give us positive feedback because, again, it is not a quick fix. It is not a pill that we swallow, and it is not just like anything that we can just gives us a chemical hit. Again, we're working on really doubling down on our energetic authenticity, on our magnetism, and on our radiance. And so being able to show up for your goals every single day is incredibly important. It is also important to be really kind when we're not able to show up for our goals and be like, okay, today I wasn't having a good day. I wasn't able to get myself into that headspace to really commit to what I said I would commit to, but it is okay. I love myself. I'm going to hold my hand. I'm going to hold myself accountable. And tomorrow I will show up because I know that that's what's going to make me feel the best. So being able to really set an intention. And so because of that, I've created the 30-day winter arc reset in the Soft Power Club. You're welcome to join us for 30 days. I'm going to be with you and do a 30-day kind of like, I don't want to call it detox because I think detox is like very aggressive, but we're doing a cleanse, we're doing a recalibration, and we're manifesting. So we're creating a manifestation list where we tap into the power of who we need to become in order to attract and magnetize the things that our heart desires. So if you want to join me on the 30-day alignment detox manifestation program, I'm going to share my everyday non-negotiables inside the Soft Power Club. And so it is good to give yourself a time frame where you're really strict because it gives you an end. So if you're like 7 days, it is so much easier to know, okay, I just need to do this one day more. I don't know if you go to the gym, but if you go to the gym, like I go to the gym, I need you to tell me how many reps I have left when I'm like on my last leg, literally. I'm like, how many more? How many more? How many more do I have to do? Okay, 3, 2, okay, done. So it really helps to have these kind of like finish lines for our mind to power through. And it's incredible how our mind operates and how important it is to have this on board with whatever we're doing. Because if we start listening, the brain wants ease. The brain doesn't want to make an effort. The brain wants what they're used to, what they're accustomed, and it really doesn't like to move out of the comfort zone. So it's going to tell us things like, oh, it's okay. It's just a day. It's like this. In your highest self, in your purpose, in your pain, oftentimes, really, if I'm honest, what motivates us the most is when we're really in deep shit. Like I have never gotten my act together as fast as I did when I was at the lowest of the lowest of the lowest. When I'm doing okay and I'm financially okay and everything's kind of like, it's like, well, but it's okay. I don't have the same drive to get my act together and to be self-disciplined and to not self-abandon and to hold myself to the highest standard because I'm like, oh, it's okay. I can kind of get away with it. But your highest self and your subconscious is not getting away with it because you know that you have a higher potential that you could be tapping into and you're being satisfied with just meh. So we are not going to be satisfied with meh. Okay? We're gonna be satisfied with only the best of the best of the best, because I want you to have an incredible, exceptional life experience. We only have one life and we better make it count. And I'm saying it to you the way I'm saying it to me, because this 30-day that I'm doing is also gonna be hard for me, okay? I haven't really committed in a while, and I know it's time. So I'm very excited to step into that and understanding that there's like, I'm gonna have a little sheet, so you like every day you get like a point, which also helps. I know it's like a 5-year-old, but it works, where you're like, I've done it, I've got so many more days to do it. And that really keeps the motivation going. It keeps the energy straight, clear, the effort. It's like, okay, it's this and this and this. And I also think the power of community, which we have in the Soft Power Club, we have a chat where we can all get together, and that's where I'm going to share most of my information on, is going to be really supportive to hold us through this moment. And so having a time, knowing that it's not reliant on motivation and inspiration, but really that you have to do the first step. And that first step is effort. That first step often is impulsed by pain. It's impulsed by frustration, by feeling stuck, by going through heartbreak, by having like financial stressful situation. Usually what makes us move forward and become strict and hold us to a higher standard is when we're going through like a lot of pain and we really want to move out of there. And so if that's not the place, but you're like stuck in a rut and you're like, I really want to up level, this can also be a great motivation. And if you're just seeing this and you're like, okay, I don't know what it is, but I just want something more out of life, that's also, you know, whatever it takes for you to just take that first step, and then the rest will come. Then when you'll feel how good you feel to be the version you want to be, you're like, oh my God, I love being this version of myself. I'm going to commit to becoming that version of myself. And then your reality starts changing around you. That is when pieces start moving into place. That is when your energy starts becoming magnetic and you start attracting the right people, opportunities, and chances. And step number 4 is, how are we nourishing that vessel? Now that we have detox, that we've created space, now that we stop doom scrolling, eating shitty food, and really like committed to having a practice that connects us with ourselves, how are we gonna fill that time, right? If you're not like watching 3 hours of Netflix every night, what are you going to fill that time with? How can you really connect inside yourself and figure out, what is something that I've wanted to learn? What is something that I want to study? What is a book that I've been drawn to? What is, you know, an activity or a hobby that I've been pushing aside? Maybe it's learning how to play the piano. Maybe it's becoming really great at watercolors. Maybe it's just, you know, taking that time of really having a super beautiful bath, especially if you have like gate 46, taking a bath every evening with Epsom salt and candles and just decompressing and not like doom scrolling for hours on your phone. So this is the moment where we start nourishing the vessel. This is the moment where we start really building a new foundation so that we have something to grab and hold on to instead of falling into our old patterns that are keeping our energy low, that are dimming our brightness, that are just kind of like putting us back into the consciousness of the crowd where we do what everybody else is doing. And this is really important because we need to understand, and if you've read the book Transurfing, you will understand this on a deeper level. It's a book I really recommend if you want to understand how to manifest in a very like energetic way. So the interesting thing is that there's like a sheep behavior, right? There's like the same that we have most generators, manifesting generators, and their energy is dominant to all of us that are open sacral. There is also this mind and thought pattern that is constantly around us. So because everybody's doing it, for us it feels okay to also be doing it, especially if you have an open spleen. And so that sovereign piece in step 2 is so important because it brings us back to ourselves. And so again, when we don't have other things to hold on to or creating new habits and new patterns, it is much easier to fall back into the ones that didn't serve us. So now it is about, what do I do at that time? What do I fill myself up with? How can I work on myself? How can I commit to something that I know is going to help me grow, expand, become more interesting, become more curious, more knowledgeable? Maybe this is investing in a course. Maybe this is learning a new language. Whatever it is, maybe it is writing your morning pages, whatever it is that you can do that you know, even for like 30 days is going to give you that up level, is going to give you that new motivation. This is the time to figure out what it is, implement it and start nourishing your vessel with high frequency food, high frequency intellectual stimulation, high frequency friendships, high frequency environments. Maybe you stop going to the shitty bar next to your house because it's next to your house, and you start going to the nice bar because maybe you're looking for a relationship or a partner that you need, whatever it is. Okay, you got it. And last but not least, it is really about understanding how your free will has the opportunity to build the vessel that allows for your manifestations to come into fruition. And so this is when you really start showing up for yourself and you become accountable for the way that you're behaving and the way that you're reacting to life. And so once we have switched and have rearranged our energy, instead of looking outside of ourselves, we're starting to connect to ourselves. You will realize, you will notice that reality starts shifting to this new version of yourself. And this is when the magic happens. This is when you start getting like tests from the universe, and you have to be very smart and very cautious and very aware and be like, I see you. And I decline. This is my new word, decline, exit. So when you start showing up as this new version of yourself with a higher frequency, because your whole energetic spectrum has changed, uplifted, you'll be happier. Life might look the same, but the way that you experience it is different. And now what happens is that the energy starts rearranging around you, and you start attracting what this new version of you is ready to receive. And so to really test if you're ready or not for what's coming, you will get job offers that suck, that are not that different from what you have, but maybe get paid a little better, but you're still miserable. You'll find the perfect dream partner, but there's still something that's off, and you know that. Keep your hands away from that. Whatever it is, there'll be little temptations that are just there to prove to yourself that you have up-leveled, that you are ready to receive bigger and brighter things, and that you will maintain calm and grace no matter what is happening outside of yourself, because you trust that you are worthy and that you are receiving, or that you're able to receive the things that your soul really desires and the things that you want to manifest. So these are the 5 steps that are really important to understand, because listen, and I don't really like the term test, because I don't think the universe tests you, but I do think that it's trying just to double make sure that you've understood the lesson, just so that when you're there, you don't fall back 3 steps, right? So that actually, I always believe the universe is out to support you and to do the best for you. So I think when we've overcome a situation and then we're ready for the next, and we get a test or we get an opportunity to fall back on the same mistake we've already learned 300 million times, it's just to make sure, double test, just to really close any insecurities, close any possibilities, because it hurts much more to then be rewarded, but the base is not solid and it starts crumbling when you're way higher up than if you test it right when you've overcome it and you've learned and you've sealed the ground, okay? So just be aware of it, because they will come, and it is up to you to be like, I see you, I won't fall for it, I've learned my lesson. Maybe you haven't. Listen, if I would tell a story about the many times that I have tripped over the same stone, this would be an endless video, okay? I'm not the person to be throwing stones in a glass house. So I'm the first one to tell you, you'll trip as often as you need to until you've learned your lesson. And I really come to realize we can't force it. We can't expedite the process. There's no Speedy Gonzales here. It is what it is. But if you have a stronger willpower than your girl, then please do it better than me. And if you see it the first time, don't trip on the second time. But either way, none of it is bad. All of it is divinely planned for you, for your highest purpose, to step into your soul's karma correction and experience the beautiful, beautiful life that your soul has come to live out in this lifetime. If you want to join my 30-day winter arc program, join the Soft Power Club. There's a link in the description box below. Let me know if this video served you. What are the things that you found most interesting? What are the things you're struggling with? Let me know in the comments what other subjects you'd like me to touch, and anything and everything. You guys know that I love reading your comments, and I try to answer to every single one of you. If this was a valuable video, share it with your bestie. Share it with anybody who you think this information could be useful for. Tag me, because I love seeing how you're enjoying this content. And remember, I don't care what anybody says. I love you, and I'll see you next Sunday.